Konnichiwa, y'all, and welcome to the 10 at 10 for 6/13/2024. We got a great lineup for you today. I'm Matt, that's my brother Tim.
And we're Mr. Maple. We're the crazy Japanese maple brothers that love Japanese maples. We do over 1,000 varieties of Japanese maples, and we ship them directly to your door. These trees we're talking about get listed today at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Mr. Maple.
All right, y'all, let's get right into it today. We've got Edna Bergman. This is a great tree, one of my favorite spring pinks. This tree is really nice for its pink coloration. You can get some high salmon pinks with this heavy Matsumuri style leaf. The Bergmans had a big impact on horticulture. They did rare flora nurseries, and they had a lot of cool introductions. A lot of them are named after the Bergmans. I think Edna Bergman may be my favorite of that entire collection.
Yeah, one of the reasons I love this tree is it gives you a really nice spring pink in the early spring, but it is a Matsumuri, but there's not many serrations to the foliage itself. That means it looks almost amenum in its habit. This tree, it goes to green during the summer, some pinks on top of that, but in the fall, this tree really lights up with some bright orange reds.
I think you'll enjoy this one, especially in the container or in the ground. It tends to be multi-stemmed, very full and dense in its approach. I've had seasons where this was like the most incredible pink, just fuchsia shades of weirdness. Absolutely love that spring intensity. Pair this one with something like shiranami for high intensity colors. I think a lot of people are going to be interested in this one. Think of it almost as a more Matsumuri style Mila. So if you're a big fan of Mila, grab your Edna Bergman today. All right, we've talked about this one a lot lately. We just did a Ceboldianum podcast, y'all. We're bringing back Acer Ceboldianum Seki no Keegan.
Yeah, Seki no Keegan is a weeping Ceboldianum. It's one of the very first of its kind. Has a very strong arching weeping habit, and this makes a good specimen out in the landscape.
This was found at Nico National Park. It was wild collected there. I love when wild collected trees turn into cultivars. It's kind of a cool little extra added thing that it was found in the wild, and it had such cool genetics that it turned into a specimen that was worthy of cultivar status. Kind of a neat origin story there for this one. Great reds to oranges in the fall, typically a bold orange for this one for us. Tends to be very heat tolerant here in the south and quite vigorous, guys. I have an older specimen at my parents' place and an older specimen that I'm about to plant at my house, and both of them are pretty big. It calipers up quick, it takes off. The one at mom and dad's is probably 6 to 7 foot tall, by about 8 foot wide now. That pendulous nature just making some very unique shapes. My girls actually like to get up under that tree like it's like a tent because it's got a big canopy to it with a high arching start to it, so they can get up in there. It's like their own little playhouse up under the Seki no Keegan. Great plant, whether it's in spring color or fall color, and I love Ceboldianums for their added cold tolerance.
Seki no Keegan, we did a full cultivar highlight at our good friend and customer, Dr. John Criticos' garden, showing it in fall color. You get a plethora of colors all on this tree, from yellows, oranges, and reds, sometimes all on the same leaf. Definitely across the whole tree, you get all those colors. It rocks it out in the fall, and it's got that full moon-like leaf and weeping habit. This tree adds a special addition to any garden.
All right, what do we got next on the table? We're bringing back Amber Ghost. We try to keep this one in stock as frequently as possible. It does sell out for us, so there are times where we have to bring it on back to Mr. Maple. My favorite of the Ghost series, sometimes Talon's favorite. I think it's the best Ghost, guys. It's got the best fall color. It's the most heat tolerant. For me, it's got the most interesting spring colors, and I think it's got the best shape. So, case closed, I win.
It definitely has a good strong form, and it goes to some really nice orange reds in the fall. The amber colors, when you give it sunlight, is phenomenal. This is one of the most heat tolerant of those Ghost reticulated types. So if you're in the south, you're looking for something for the sun and show good reticulation, Amber Ghost does that. Gives you some great colors out there, makes a good, strong, sturdy, upright tree, and it's going to perform well in the fall.
Guys, are you checking out our merch? We got the Buckholt shirts with the full Ghost series, like band dates on the back. Grab you one of those, but grab you an Amber Ghost today. If you don't have Amber Ghost already, or you're really a Japanese maple collector, I'll put it out there. I'll go ahead and call you out. If you don't have Amber Ghost, you don't really collect Japanese maples. It's one of the best all-time Japanese maples. I'd put it, up there against anything. Classic. Grab you an Amber Ghost today. Those spring waves of amber will blow you away. Ooh-wee, a lot of people are going to be after this one, Tim. What do we got?
Guys, next up, we've got Acer palmatum, Allen's Gold. Allen's Gold is one of those trees that leaves out with a bright orange color in the spring, going into a chartreuse gold kind of color, and this tree just rocks it out with spring color.
Now, not only is this a crazy spring color, it's also one of the first variations of pine bark for foliage interest. So you're going to love this one for that spring foliage, but also that pine barking interest. It gets heavy fissured bark, reminiscent of that of Arakawa, So you're gonna get that kind of a bark interest, and also a tree that's gonna look amazing for bonsai. Now, put it in the ground. These are grafted specimens. They are low grafted. Put it in the ground, create your air layers and stuff from this if you want to do a bonsai. Get some caliper on it, do rooted cuttings then and get more content. That's the best way to grow it. But guys, this one is a showstopper. It's been exceptionally heat tolerant for us in the south. It's handled a good bit of sun with that spring color. The spring color is already one that I'd say almost beats Katsura many times. And then that pine bark interest makes it insane.
Yeah, it's the first of its kind, being a spring interest and a winter interest with that pine bark. I mean, there's not much else that does that. Now the pine bark, that rough bark, gives this tree an older appearance out there in the landscape. That means it's great for bonsai, but also it gives that bonsai-like feel in the garden. And if you're trying to have that older feel to your garden, this will definitely do it at a younger age. This tree typically takes about 4 to 5 years to really start throwing some pine bark on it, so it does take a minute. But when this tree does start developing that pine bark and you start to see it, and you get that spring interest, there's nothing else like it.
Yeah, you will get a little bit more green midsummer. Give this one a little early morning sun to pick up the colors on it. Really quite exquisite though. The fall colors typically range from orangey to really bright red. I normally have a bright picked up orangey red on this in the fall. Very nice tree overall. We did give some of these away. We gave one of these away in our recent live videos. Whenever we're going live, we're giving away free plants, y'all. Allen's Gold's gonna sell out today. You might want to add it to cart, check out, then add future things to it because it's gonna go quickly.
Next up, we've got Acer palmatum Naka Komodo weeping. This is the national treasure of Japan. It's a tree that sits at a temple in Japan, and it's over 400 years old. I mean, the stakes holding it up are over 200 years old. Matt and I had the pleasure going visiting this tree. It's a beautiful sight to see. We actually got to see it going into fall color, and it was bright oranges and reds. I mean, this is one of the coolest trees I've ever seen.
Shout out to Nakata-san. He's actually visiting us in September. We hope to do a podcast with him on Japanese gardening. He took his time to travel with us to go see this. We were filming Nippo Nikki Tai at his place, and while we were looking through the brochures, we said, we're very close to the national treasure tree of Japan. Like, what's this all about? And he goes, oh, it's this maple. It's about an hour from here. So we had a rainy day filming B-roll. Tim and I talked him and our translator into taking us over there, and it was such a fun experience to get to see that. Conservatively 400, some things say 6, so we've said both before. Conservatively at least 400 years old according to most literature. This one is the granddaddy of all Ryusen styles. So Jiroshitari, a seedling from this, Ryusen, a seedling from that. You get all the way down to Dragon Master and Ghost Dragon and all these new crazy things. But this one started really the whole pendulous palmate style foliage. And what a cool plant. I mean, one of the oldest Japanese maples on the entire planet. You can own a cool piece of Japanese maple history here today. Going to work zones 5 through 9. Exceptional heat tolerance even in that zone 8 setting.
One of the things I like about Naka Komodo weeping is it has this interesting hooking habit. And that creates a fun structure, especially after 400 years. But even at a young age, it really has this nice weeping habit that really adds and accentuates other things in the garden. This is such a cool tree, a cool piece of history to have. I remember when we first heard about this tree, we were told that it sat on this temple and there were monks guarding it and all this stuff. When we went to visit, it was raining. The monks might have took their day off.
Maybe they had the day off. Nobody was guarding it.
But it was a beautiful tree, and to see something like this, it's one of the coolest Japanese maples I've ever seen.
People say, what's the max size this will ever get? And I like to tell them, if you plant this tree and you wait 400 years, it can look exactly like this. Guys, typically this is a 5x6 in a 10-year period. That's why we always give time frames instead of giving you disingenuous sizes that say the max size this will ever get. Go to Japan, you could see a 400 to 600-year-old version of Naka Komodo weeping. Woo-wee, one of my all-time favorites coming back to the table, y'all. We're bringing out Emerald Sunset. This is Acer palmatum Emerald Sunset. This is one from down under from Australia. One of my all-time favorites. Best purple bordered form for me. Heat tolerant, great red fall color. All around just phenomenal plant.
The reason I love Emerald Sunset is because in our shade and high heat, you lose that purple border quickly into late spring, early summer. Emerald Sunset, even in those conditions, you're still seeing a lot of that. And we're seeing that return on the summer flushes of growth. To me, hands down, the best purple bordered selection of an upright Japanese maple.
I've seen some newer types that try to copy this one. It is exquisite, guys. It's hard to beat the original. Emerald Sunset is one of my all-time favorite purple borders. It's heat tolerant, it's durable. It's been tested in Australia. It's been around for over 20 years. Grab you an Emerald Sunset today. These do tend to sell out. I have customers in Texas singing this one's praises about its heat tolerance and durability. Maybe that lends a little bit to that Australian origin of it, but it certainly seems to do well in some high heat settings.
Grab you one of these today. Really cool plant. Will sell out fast. Many trees will sell out fast on the website. Make sure you check out fast because our website doesn't hold it for you until you complete that checkout process.
This one, don't be fooled. It is not a Ryusen style. Although I did have a guy one time call it a discount Ryusen. I was like, this is so much cooler than Ryusen. Acer Palmatum Reuben, guys. This one leaves out with some crazy pink shades. Maybe a good starting spot for some seeds to make a red Ryusen. I'll just give that away. But really cool plant here, guys. This one tends to be multi-stemmed and kind of semi-pendulous. Like, it's not going to be weeping like Ryusen, but it tends to sprawl out an upright habit. This is one of the quintessential pairings, I think, with Kristen Starr.
Yeah, I can see at a young stage why people think it would look Ryusen-like, because this tree does have a spreading out, makes more of a shrub-like shape overall. So it'll continue to put horizontal type growth on as it makes this shrub-like. But the springtime pink on this can be just baby pink, and it can be one of the pinkest Japanese maples in that springtime corallinum group setting.
Oh, guys, think of this one as a bonsai too. Crazy shape, crazy small foliage. It does fade to a green like it is right now. Great red to orange fall color. Excellent in a container, but I absolutely love what this one does. Named by Cor van Gelderen of Esveld Plantinium. Reuben, we got a whole cultivar highlight. I keep making Reuben jokes through the whole thing. Go check it out. I think you'll absolutely love this plant though. An oldie but a goodie. We're bringing back some classics here today. Some things I hadn't seen in a few years, guys. Reuben, grab you a Reuben today. Ooh, talking about classics. It's been about 5 or 6 years since this one's been on Mr. Maple. This will sell out here today.
Guys, next up we've got Acer palmatum Kaga Kujaku. This is a selection that was introduced by our good friend Masayoshi Yano. He recently passed away last year, and we recently did a podcast on Masayoshi Yano and some of his introductions. You should go check that out as well. This one was found at a Temple Gardens, and Yano said, I love this plant. It's got to be introduced into the nursery trade.
Yeah, it's noted for having some silvery sheens over the foliage, big leaf. Don't let it fool you. It's not a japonicum. It is a palmatum, but it has some japonicum-like vibes to it with that leaf. I love this plant. Bold red fall colors, elegant, fan-like in its growth a lot of times. I love the way this one fills out. It definitely gives you that elegance and that kind of older Japanese feel. Kind of feels like a different era even in Japan. I love how this one looks. It's a very cool plant. You can get some really nice glossy shades over this too. It kind of gives it almost a blue-green kind of color sometimes, especially in the early spring if you have it in some shade.
Now, Kujaku means peacock, and that's because it does have that Matsumori style foliage. Very peacock-like on that foliage. Nice upright semi-pendulous habit that's just going to rock it out in the garden, and is a rare tree that you can enjoy that's also in some temple gardens in Japan.
We got a lot of those today. Some cool stuff coming back, y'all. Woo, man, another one from Japan. Oh my gosh. We're knocking it out with the Japanese trees today, guys. This is a rare one from Japan. This was a fan favorite at one of our recent open houses, so I'm surprised we even still have any available. We're bringing out Acer palmatum Muka.
Muka is a small leaf Japanese maple, one of the smallest foliage of any of the Japanese maples. It's a selection that was introduced into the nursery trade and by Tsukasa maples in Japan. Really, really small leaf, small compact habit, extremely rare, and one of the first times you'll see it being offered in the United States today.
Have we ever had this on our website before?
Don't think we have.
I don't think we have. I know people went nuts over this in person. Purple border on this in the spring. I know when I was at Tsukasa Maple in Japan, I had some American and some Japanese nurserymen with me touring, and they said, hot dang, I'm cleaning it up. What is that thing? Everybody went nuts over this. That structure was so cool because it gets a lot of density from within. The border was so bright purple on it in that spring garden. Small leaf to it. It does remind me a little bit of Seiho, but it has some differences from that. Absolutely love Muka.
Yeah, Muka is just one of those plants that just stands out from the crowd. The small leaves give you unique texture in the landscape, the dense habit. If you're looking for something cool for bonsai that no one else has, this is a cool tree to put in the garden and then make bonsais from.
Absolutely great new one from Japan. Again, since this is the first time this is offered, I guarantee you these sell out today. Grab you a Muka. They're going to be a fun one. Great for bonsai. That small leaf gets really tiny. Looks really cool in a big pot too. It's a small globular shape to it. I think you're going to like this one, whether it's in the container or the ground. First time offered from Japan today, y'all. Oh snap, y'all. Check it out. We got Acer shirasawanum Arium out here for you in 10 gallons, getting delivered directly to your doorstep. Rarely do you see RM this size, mail order. This guy's already got seed all over it, y'all.
These are some of our great sized 10 gallons that we're now shipping. We actually have a number of 10 gallons that you can ship on MrMaple.com. This is the Golden Full Moon Japanese Maple. It's a yellow Acer shirasawanum, one of the classic yellows. You want to put this tree in a container, find its happy place in the garden. Typically that's going to be under a high shade or a morning sun, afternoon shade condition. Filtered light works as well. This tree brightens up those dark places in the garden with that bright yellow color.
Guys, I had this one on a crate, but it's probably a good 4.5 foot out of the ground and at least 2.5 to 3 foot wide. This is one of the smaller of the set. We've got some exquisite looking 10 gallons. They ship out directly to your doorstep, FedEx ground. People have been getting really excited about these. Go to our Mr. Maple Friends group on Facebook. You can see people sharing this going, holy cow, how did they get this to me? This has been working great, guys. We've been sending this out to California even. We've been testing it to different places. People have been receiving these giant 10s and they can't be more excited singing the praises of this great size plant.
Now, these trees are huge. They're older specimens. They're so old, many of them, maybe not all of them, but many of them are actually throwing seeds all across this tree.
We cannot guarantee you seeds.
But it's crazy. That's how old these trees are. You're getting a specimen, a tree that's going to make a major impact in the garden right away with these 10 gallons.
I hope you like seeing these 10s, kit the 10 at 10s. There's more to come on that, guys. We appreciate you tuning in today for today's 10 at 10.
If you want to figure out the other 10 trees that are getting listed, check out your weekly email. If you're not signed up for that, you can sign up for it on MrMaple.com.
There's another secret 10 trees that only you can find out about by checking that email. Take care.
God bless.
And have a great day.